What's up, hockey fans? Happy Tuesday night. Pod Snipe Celly coming at you. My name is Dan Bradley. Alongside me, the illustrious Joel Fernino. Joel, how you doing tonight, my friend?
Illustrious. Of
Illustrious.
all the,
I'm gonna start throwing out adjectives before your name as we do the show, and I'm gonna see which ones make you laugh, and I'm gonna give myself a point every time it makes you laugh.
I love that because it's similar to one of the new podcasts on the scene of the What Chaos podcast. They started a bit now where they call each other completely random ass nicknames at the beginning of the show now, and it's never the same. So I'll take it.
That's excellent. That's honestly even better.
I'll take the adjective. It's not a nickname, so it's not copying. That works.
Yeah,
I've never been described as illustrious.
Well, first time for everything. So
if I had a nickel, I would have 5 cents.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to our live viewers who are tuning in as well. As a reminder, we are live most Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central.
Most.
We'll have some variants on that over the next couple of weeks here as well. We'll talk about later in the show. But we have some relatively breaking-ish news into the show tonight, which is where we're going to start. And that is with Morgan Rielly being suspended 5 games for cross-checking Ridley Greig. Greg, sorry. I called him Greig when I was doing all of my...
I called him Riley Greig at one point because I was dyslexic and read his name wrong. So
when I was doing all of my prospect scouting and getting ready for ahead of the draft, that was how I thought his name was pronounced. And I recently discovered as a result of this incident that it is in fact Greg, not Greek on the pronunciation. So got to make sure we get that one night. Guy chiming in to say hello and telling us to behave tonight. We'll see. We'll see what happens there.
You can't ask me to make promises I can't keep.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So for those who had missed what happened with this incident, Toronto Maple Leafs, Ottawa Senators, Leafs are down by a goal. They've got the net empty. They're pushing for that extra goal. Coughed the puck up. One of the Senators players pushed the puck ahead to Greg. Who
weren't they down by 2?
No, it was down by 1.
Was it only one? Oh, okay.
It was only 1. Yep. Empty net goal made it 2.
Okay.
And about 5 seconds left in regulation, and Greg fires a slap shot into the back of the net. He had a breakaway in all alone, empty net, just tees one up. And as he's making his pass by the net and coming back up the wall so that he can go celebrate with his teammates, Morgan Rielly cross-checks Greg directly to the head. Clearly incensed by the slap shot. Chaos ensued. There was a dust-up with everybody who was still on the ice. Shortly thereafter, Toronto put Ryan Reeves on the ice just to make sure nobody else tried anything in the final 5 seconds of the game. Battle of Ontario, live and well. Really escalating things back up. And we got news roughly half hour, 45-ish minutes ago that Morgan Rielly had his virtual in-person hearing, which has now resulted in a 5-game suspension. Joel, I want to start by asking you, this isn't as egregious as Dale Hunter and rising to a 20-game suspension for that. But knowing that 5 games was the minimum based on the in-person hearing, does this seem about right for level of discipline to you?
I mean, yeah, relatively speaking, if we're going to obviously take away our own opinions and our own biases and our own thoughts and everything, when you go by the letter of the law, by the book, I figured it'd be somewhere in between 5 to 7, 7 being probably by the rules on the harsher side. But I honestly expected 6. Not that the 1 game is that big of a difference, but we've definitely seen 1 game be a huge difference at times, especially if it's we're not in the playoffs, but right. I've definitely seen it. 1 extra game. It doesn't go to them as just, oh, it's 1 extra game. Who cares? Like that. My guess was going to be 6. I think I may have even tweeted and guessed and said it should be 6. this seems it's fine. It's fair. We'll get into our opinions, but just based on the letter of the law itself, this is pretty close. Yeah.
The thing that's particularly interesting to me is that with the 5-game length of the suspension, the games that Rielly will miss are against St. Louis tonight, which Leafs are already up 2-0 in that one. Mm-hmm. Home against Philadelphia, home against Anaheim, at St. Louis, at Arizona. Then, once Rielly returns to the lineup, and Rielly has been outstanding this year for Toronto,
was why it was a little surprising.
Named to the All-Star team. Toronto's schedule, once Rielly is back in the lineup after serving his suspension, at Vegas, at Colorado, home against Vegas, home against Arizona, home against New York Rangers, home against Boston. Those are some big boy games coming up once he's back in the lineup after serving that suspension. And not that, I mean, anybody can be beat on any given night, especially when it comes to the Leafs. You never know whether that Leafs team is going to win or lose by 5. It just happens that way. But it does seem kind of interesting with the timing of it all that they wanted to make sure, knowing as well that that Vegas game Thursday night and then Saturday on NHL Network against Colorado, making sure that he's back in time for those games. It's an interesting way the schedule lined up in regards to the suspension. I don't think that was necessarily considered in the length of the suspension. I do think, we had said in our group chat, we were thinking 5 to 7, as you touched on, was about right. I was thinking it might be closer to 7, just within 5 seconds left in the game. If he had done that earlier in the game, we might only be looking at like a 3-game suspension, but also it wouldn't have been an empty net at that point. So there's that too.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm saving our opinions until once we get into that part of it. This is more of just updating everybody what happened.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so looking at the play just in a bubble and the result of the goal, you don't necessarily want to embarrass an opponent. You want to beat him, but there's to a degree an element of going about it the quote unquote right way. And because of that, it's kind of led to the question of what is the correct way to score an empty net goal. I mean, if you're going to have a problem with, teeing up a slap shot from the face-off dots, you're at the hash marks and just letting her rip. Does it have to be as soon as I'm over the blue line, I'm shooting a wrister? I'm not even trying to raise the puck. I'm just keeping it on ice level. I skate it all the way up to the net and tap it in. I saw one today where this was from a few years ago where a skater stopped in front of the net, let the clock run a little bit more as though the defenseman was catching up, and then put it into the empty net. We see plays like that, but then we also see Patrick Steffen, who tries to skate it all the way into the empty net, blows a tire, wipes out, and then, that's the Leafs going back the other way, scoring a goal, tying the game.
Alex Pietrangelo, which also...
Yeah. Or Oilers. You're right. Oilers, not Leafs.
It was Oilers. Alex Pietrangelo.
Alex Pietrangelo, you're right.
Goal. Yeah, and I actually just recently, I don't know how I didn't know that, I recently learned that entire play was actually how we got to draft Patrick Kane.
Oh, jeez.
So that play was towards the end of the season. I learned, yes, this is total sidebar. Are we in court?
We need to take 30 seconds just for me to process that.
So that Patrick Steffen goal, and I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to mention that in our talking about this, that, he skates a little, and to be fair, when you watch the video, and for who doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about, just look up Patrick Steffen, Stefan, missed empty netter, and it's all over. It's very viral. You will find it.
It's just one of the most memorable clips in hockey history, just
and
the way it played out.
It's just so unprecedented how it's, they were against the Oilers and they're up 3-2, I believe it was. And yeah, he wasn't even like skating in and doing anything fancy. He was just bringing it as close as humanly possible to the empty netter as he could. I don't know if he wants to just make damn sure, like maybe he wasn't that good. I don't know his career much. I don't know if he
had a decent career.
Maybe he didn't have faith in himself shooting it from, the face-off dot and had to go basically to the goal line essentially. And he trips up and completely just fans on it, whiffs. It just doesn't even go into the net. And then it gets picked up. Alex Hemsky takes it the other way, ties the game, and then they win in overtime.
Mm-hmm. Dallas won in a shootout. 5-5 was the
5-5. Okay, so
5-5
it was 4 to,
so yeah,
it was 4-3
5-4 at that point.
Or I'm sorry, 5-4. Yeah, so 6-5. It was the winner. Yes, so I came to find out that entire scenario, it was towards the end of the season, and obviously seeding was in play there, and because the Oilers ended up winning that game regardless, just winning.
No, they didn't. The Stars won in overtime.
I'm sorry, the Stars.
But by getting the extra point by having gone to overtime.
Yeah, so because the Stars, so the Oilers got the extra point, and then the Stars didn't lose in regulation. Instead, they won in overtime, or a shootout. That moved all of the draft odds, and when they still were doing the lottery, and they had the lottery, and that exact play helped move everything around to have the Blackhawks draft Patrick Kane.
I hate that so much.
I thought I texted you when I found that out.
No, you didn't. I hate absolutely everything about that.
Fun fact for everybody that didn't know, I found that because I was down a rabbit hole. Since getting Bedard, like everyone kind of we in Chicago at least talk about like the moments of last season where like you remember how pissed off I was that we absolutely manhandled the Penguins towards the end of the season. And I remember saying like Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin ain't shit. They can't even beat this terrible, horrendous Blackhawks roster at the end of the season when we need to lose. And I was livid. I have never been that mad for a decisive victory ever. And sure enough, it turned out to work out, and it turned out we needed that.
Yeah, because then Columbus turns around like the next night or 2 nights later, they beat as well. Yeah, they won as well, which again bumps Chicago in the standings, and Chicago ends up winning. So,
yes, empty netters mean things.
Yeah,
Mark, our boy Mark.
As a former goaltender, taking a shot after a whistle is taboo. Yeah, that's a big no-no on the list of like unwritten rules of hockey that you don't do. And even to a degree, that one is somewhat written into the rule book. But shot after the whistle, yeah, that's bad. But clapper from 3 feet away wasn't that bad, and Rielly overreacted. I'm with you, Mark. I think that was a big time.
We're about to get
overreaction from.
Speaking, by the way, real quick. Speaking of Mark, positive vibes again. Hope your dad's doing well, Mark. After that surgery he had, hope all is well on your end. I think I saw a post by you saying everything went well. So hope all is well, my friend.
Always.
Absolutely, chill dropping knowledge up in here. Yes, especially
what we do.
Especially when it's knowledge about how we got lucky and got one of the best American-born players ever, and Dan hates every minute of it.
I appreciate that you said one of, because normally you say the best. You have at least changed to say one of.
No, there's
so as not to discredit, Mike Modano. So as not to discredit JR,
Oh yeah, I said one of. I say one of. Oh, I also have to say one of, because look, I'd be stupid to say that Austin Matthews ain't going to pass him in points like he's going to.
By the time his career is over, there's a very good chance that Austin Matthews
is the best. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. It's fine. Records were made, but yeah, back to your question, and now we'll get into kind of our thoughts on that whole situation. It's the biggest story in the NHL right now. I think it was pure utter bullshit that he went up there, that Ridley did what he did.
You don't like Ridley Gregg's play, or you don't?
Oh,
I'm
sorry, Rielly, Morgan. I meant to say I got Ridley and Rielly mixed up.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, you're good.
I think I think it's absolute bullshit that Morgan Rielly went up and basically tried to take his face off for scoring an empty netter. Okay, I get it. He teed up a slap shot when he was 3 feet from the goal line. You know what? To Morgan Rielly, I say, stop him.
Yeah, if you don't like it, don't cough the puck up.
Yeah, you let him in behind you. You gave him all that time and space to actually have time to think about doing that kind of fun little, exclamation point, quite literally and figuratively move. Don't let it happen. You coughed the puck up clearly when you pulled the goalie. You clearly you had possession in the offensive zone. You lost it. Not just Morgan Rielly, all the Leafs, but Morgan Rielly's part of that. They're one of their best defensemen. And I'm usually a Morgan Rielly fan, but now, like, you're going to go do that? You're clearly being a bitch. Like, I get it. Emotions run high, but to me, there is a place for, and this is going to open up another can of worms. I want your thoughts on this first before I open that can of worms. I will slightly open said can and say, I'm a fan of this showboating type shit. I love it.
I don't know, because I think players should be allowed to celebrate. And there's a line with where does it cross into having fun versus are you disrespecting and showing up your opponent. To me, a slap shot into the empty net falls onto the fun side of that line versus the classless showing up your opponent side.
Right, like he's not flipping off the bench or anything. Like he's not he's not doing the DX suck it chop after he did it. Like,
Guy asked an interesting question here. Should the team be punished as well on these type of activities, and how severe would the action have to be before the team is punished? That's a really good question. I was a little surprised with Sheldon Keefe's comments that he was in favor of what Rielly did in going after Greg. I'm trying. I'm really trying on that one.
Greg. Oh, well, to your point, to counter that, not counter, I guess, but how much, and I mean, we'll never know. We're not in Sheldon Keefe's brain, but how much of that is his actual thoughts and how much of it is just he's not going to throw his player under the bus?
There is some of that to be considered as well. And as a coach, you want to try and have your players back, but also when your player does something stupid, sometimes you need to call out and acknowledge, that was a dumb thing to do. And it does hurt the Leafs. Even though those are games, their next 5 that they should be winning anyway, that's still not a guarantee. And
it never is with the Leafs.
And with any team in this league. I mean, anybody can be beat on any given night. We've seen that all year with our betting picks.
Except tonight. We're not beating Vancouver.
Probably not, but you never know. What did I tell you guys last night? I said I texted you guys and said Vegas should beat Minnesota by 5 tonight. Minnesota scores 5 and wins 5-3.
Oh, that makes me feel better about the parlay I had.
It makes no sense, and hockey betting is dumb, but we love it.
Well, but even right, you guys ended up beating them, and that's actually sidebar there, and that's kind of why I was telling my buddy who hosted the Super Bowl party this past weekend, which we didn't even talk about the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, we're 20 minutes in. We didn't talk Super Bowl yet.
We could do that. We'll do it at the end.
Well, we'll put a wrap on this segment, then we'll talk Super Bowl for
we'll put a little football injection into the hockey. But he had a parlay, like a championship parlay, and one of he hit 5 he needs to hit 5 legs of it. He had Michigan winning the college football championship. He had the 49ers winning the Super Bowl. He had the Rangers winning the World Series. and then he had the Nuggets and the Golden Knights repeating their respective championships. We were talking about it before the game, and he was like, if the 49ers win, like, if he bet $5 to win, like, it was like $65,000.
Oh, wow.
And that's huge. If the 49ers had won too, we were like, dude, that would be your third leg of the 5. See what the cash out is and just cash out, because I just don't think the Golden Knights are going to repeat. And I love them, and they're deep. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. Plus, with 3 out of 5, like, the sportsbook is looking at that going like, oh, man, do we have to pay out, $65K on this thing? The payout probably wouldn't have been too big. It still probably would have been like maybe $30-$40 at that point, because you've hit 3 out of 5. But
it would have been, if the 49ers had won, we were trying to do the math, because the cash out before the Super Bowl started was like 150 or something.
Oh, wow. That high even.
Well, because you called 2 championships.
I guess.
But either way, that was my weird segue into saying how, like, you guys beating Vegas is partly why I'm like, I don't think they're going to repeat.
And I guess it is a parlay too, rather than a 5-leg parlay, rather than like a 3 or a straight bet. So there's that.
But I don't know. I hated the response from Morgan Rielly, and that's why when I mentioned at the beginning of this, like, by the letter of the law, 5 games seems fair. Like you said, we both kind of were like maybe 6, maybe 7. Greg is like fine, right? He's not injured anymore.
Yeah, he didn't.
Right.
He's not going to miss any time.
So that comes into play too. Had he been injured, I could have seen you pushing 10. Had he been
there is that too. But when Dale Hunter got 20 for doing that, part of it was because
that one was
injured, and it was in the playoffs, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was really egregious too. Like, that was you're trying to murder this man. Like,
that one was blindside. Greg at least was able to see a little bit that it was coming. He didn't have time to react, but he could see that it was coming and
like
pushing a fall.
Yeah, and like his head didn't appear to look like it bounced off the ice too hard, and it was more of like a bullying type of motion as opposed to like I'm going to seriously hurt you type of motion.
Yeah.
And I mean, Morgan Rielly's never really typically been that way anyway, so that's why I was surprised.
He's not an overly physical defenseman. He's a good shutdown guy, but
hold on, I love this. Joey's checking in from Epcot, saying he's having a beer in the Canada Pavilion in our honor while watching.
Sweet.
I've drank around the world. I love that shit. So enjoy that. And the beer in the Canada Pavilion. Canada. Can you tell we're American? No. The beer
our show has been content restricted by country. We are no longer available north of the border.
Yeah. No, we're not allowed. But the Canada Pavilion had some really good Canadian beers. So that's what I was trying to say. So hi, Joey.
Enjoy Epcot.
Mark II, Pure Emotions got the best of the Leafs defenseman, in my opinion. And you know what? That's a Bruins fan saying that about a Leafs player. So that's your forgiveness level is higher than mine, Mark.
Well, I think with that rivalry there as well, the Bruins have seen some emotions from the Leafs over the last couple of years, so they can recognize when it's an emotion thing.
It just boils down to. Wait, hold on. Suck it, America's hat.
Jeez.
Is Canada a backwards hat or a forwards hat?
Neither. It's a toque.
All right. Okay. That makes sense. It's cold. This opens up no, I didn't have you make a banner or anything for this because this opens up a question of like.
Well, I'll make a banner for it here, just on the fly.
I just want to see like in the comments, and then you like, where does everyone fall on this topic? Like this response to Greg, to Greg's slap shot empty netter, and it rolls up into. We also saw was it Jake Wallman, I think is his name. On the Red Wings,
the guy for the Red Wings.
Yeah, he got the penalty shot in overtime and won it, and dropped a gritty Celly again. And there were some people spouting off. I know Twitter is not a real place, but there were plenty of people that didn't like that either, because it's it's like you're bringing a football-esque Celly into hockey. We've seen hockey bring baseball Cellys with the bat flip stuff. Like it's
I
like
love a good bat flip.
Oh, same.
I'm not even going to mess around with that one. I love a good bat flip.
Same, but that's kind of the thing. Like, where does everybody fall on this? Like, and where do you fall on this?
Mm-hmm.
You said it the professional way. I was going to say, do you fall on the fun side or the curmudgeon side of things?
Yeah, I generally more fun. And I look at things like the gritty and like the fact that was a dance that Justin Jefferson and the guys at LSU came up with, brought it to the pros, did it on the national stage, and then all of a sudden that's everywhere. You've got Adam Schefter doing it in a game that doesn't even involve anybody who is on that LSU team. It's the cringiest thing ever. You have Kirko Chains trying to do it after a touchdown celebration, but then it becomes a dance in Fortnite. It becomes something that soccer players do when they score a goal. We see it in other sports as they're celebrating. So I'm all for it.
Guile has the best take. This is the best point I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
The slap shot would be no different than your goalie slapping it the full length to try and get a goalie goal. Same deal.
Is it showing your opponent up if a goalie is scoring a goal?
Right, and I've seen we've seen it. Hell, I saw one live against my own team. He was active, Pecorine. He was actively trying.
Yeah, because his wasn't just an on the net. Like, he skated out of the net to get it up.
I get it.
Get the shot off.
He was a puck handling goalie, not like Mike Smith, but also Pecorine was good. Anyway. Any chance I get to throw shade at Mike Smith, I'll do it. I'm never going to get over that 2012 playoff series.
Of all the guys to be mad at from that series, Mike Smith is mid-pack.
No. Rafi Torres is in his own universe of hatred.
There are still other guys. Torres is number one with a bullet, but there are still some other guys I would have thought you might have.
I got over my hatred for Shane Doan. I did hate him for quite a while. I got over it. I grew up on that one. But
good, because Doan for the most part.
Oh yeah,
he was pretty solid hockey, consistent.
Yeah, very much so, and pretty much all around good hockey dude too. Mm-hmm. He's never, just that series he was kind of a dick. But
Keith Yandel on that squad.
I always liked
Martin Hansel,
Yeah,
Damon Lankow, 20-year-old Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's right. Ekman-Larsson was basically a rookie that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've seen a goalie go live, and he was actively trying to embarrass. It wasn't look, I got it, and no one's around me. Let's just try it. He was actively coming out when we would dump the puck in. Obviously, we wouldn't do anything because we were getting our asses kicked that night anyway. We were down 4 or 5-1 or something like that, I think. So the puck would get dumped in, he'd grab it, and he was literally actively trying. He tried once and missed, and then he tried again and made it. Was I, even in that moment, being mad that it's happening to me, was I sitting there screaming my head off saying, go
run the goalie,
go kick his ass, go run the goalie, go do something to this veteran, phenomenal goalie? No. And that's not even exaggerating. I wasn't even mad that he scored it. I was like, holy shit, that just happened. That was sick, actually. I'm not even mad. You have to look, I'm not going to tell somebody how to fan, but the meatheadedness, it's just laughable. We've talked about it with doing the Michigans. You just talked about it with the Cellys. The only one who shouldn't be doing a gritty is Mac Jones because he doesn't deserve to. Sorry, Mark.
Oh boy.
I've been nice to Mark all show. I got to throw a little Boston shade in there.
Mark, by all means, feel free to send it right back at Joel.
Hey, I sent the tweet out earlier today. Part of this show is chirp me. Don't chirp Dan. Chirp me.
I'll take that.
Actually, speaking of Mark, sweet. Now when a goalie shoots at an empty net goal, we attack.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if it's fun and it's not,
Sorry.
there you go. There
Hey,
it is.
You're gonna get a good QB in the draft. It's okay, and they'll turn out, and ours won't, like normal. Anyway.
Yeah, the Bears are going to overthink it and ended up taking Bo Nix.
Stop that. Somebody
pick.
actually called into ESPN radio today and like mentioned that. And I was like,
Michael Penix Jr. First
I'd
overall.
take that over Bo Nix. Not first, no. If we're taking one of them, we're trading that pick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, no.
is they hold the first overall pick and then that's what they do because that would be the most Bears thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then reach for a wide receiver on the second pick.
Listen.
Harrison off the board, Neighbors
I
off
said
the board.
we talk football at the end of the show. This is not trash.
Yeah, okay.
On the shitty
we'll
Bears
move on. We'll move on. Let's move on from the negativity of the suspensions and celebrate some accomplishments here as well. We got some stick taps to go around. The Wild honored Marc-Andre Fleury the other night for his 1,000th game played and for moving into second place on the all-time wins list. Brad Marchand playing his 1,000th game tonight. Alex Pietrangelo played his 1,000th game last night against Minnesota. Joel, some accomplished players. We got to give them some love here.
Absolutely.
Fleury, obviously, first ballot Hall of Famer. You know, he's going in. Where do you have Marchand and Pietrangelo on your HOF bubble as it sits right now?
Oh, man, that's tough.
Yep.
We got Pietrangelo with 2 cups. How many Norris? He's got 1 Norris, but
I think he has 1.
Does he doesn't.
I'll get his accolades up here while you.
Remind me if he's got more than 1, but I know he has 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the Hockey Hall of Fame, so he's got 3 gold medals, I think.
So actually, he doesn't have a Norris.
What?
He does have 2 Stanley Cup champions,
yes.
3 All-Stars, 3-time second team All-Star.
Yep.
And then internationally, it was named world champion. No for Mr. Pietrangelo.
Huh. All right. And what are Pietrangelo's actual stats right now, lifetime?
Give me just a moment here.
while you pull that up, Marchand, let's fucking go.
I just had him up, and then I went to the other page, and
you do that. While I pull
the
up
highest that he has finished in the Norris voting is 4th, and that was the 2012 season with St. Louis. Had another top 5 finish in 2014,
yep.
And then another 4th in 2020. But hasn't seen the same sort of Norris Trophy love. And I think part of that too is as good as Pietrangelo has been defensively,
he's not.
He hasn't always had the points.
Yep.
That you look at guys like Erik Karlsson, like what PK Subban would put up, like what Drew Doughty would put up, Duncan Keith.
Yep.
And now moving into Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar. It's probable, I would say at this point, Pietrangelo ends his career without a Norris and without even a top 3 for the Norris, but still a highly respected defenseman across the board. 2 cups, been a captain. I think he's at the very least on the bubble.
I would agree. I probably am putting him in there. Not first ballot. I don't think he gets in first ballot. I agree. He's on the bubble. I'm personally putting him in.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 cups obviously helps him. The international accolades help. I'm putting him in. Not first. He'll probably take a couple of years, but he'll get in.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brad Marchand. As much as I've never liked him, I give respect where respect is due. That dude turned around his career. He was just a dirty little rat, that really didn't perform that well to being a less dirty little rat that is a bona fide superstar.
Well, and not only that, but really evolving his two-way game. Being able to put up a 100-point season while also,
right.
Being a very, very good defensive winger. And wingers don't get nearly as much love as centers do when it comes to Selke voting. But he has several top 10 in the Selke voting finishes. So,
exactly.
Hey, you atoned for the Mac Jones comment here. Joel's Mark is your new best friend, according to the comments. Because you're saying put Marchand in the hall.
I am putting Marchand in the hall as well because look, we were talking about his 1,000th game coming up. It hasn't.
Yeah, it's tonight.
It's tonight, right? So he's got 1,000 games under his belt. Career stats too. He is pushing 400 goals. He's at 397, so he's gonna hit 400 this year. And then 513 assists, which is good enough for 910 points. He's 90 points away from being in the 1,000-point club. The way that these guys are built now, he's 35, but he's still performing.
Outside chance, but yeah, he's still got a shot to get to 1,000.
I mean, all he's got to do is have 2 50-point seasons to eclipse 1,000, and he doesn't even need that. He just needs so what's he doing right now? 25 and 23. Yeah,
he's at 48 points right now. He'll get 60 by the end of the year.
He'll get more than 60 by the end of the year, but
probably.
Yeah, he'll probably end up hitting 80. So he just needs to play 2 more years and play at a decent level. At least one of those years, he could play at a higher level one year and then just kind of coast the next year. And I don't think he's going to retire. He hasn't really had much with regard to long-term injury histories. So
and he does have the cup 2011. The 2019 win, I think, would have really locked up his case. But even looking beyond that, you look at 2-time first-team All-Star, 2-time second-team All-Star, 2-time IIHF Gold, 2016 World Cup of Hockey champion.
Yep.
He's got both the individual and the team accolades to get there, and is starting to kind of check some boxes that we may have to start looking at the very real possibility.
Here we go.
Mark's saying, Marchand with 2 helpers tonight.
Already. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So he's now 1 point away from 1,000. Or sorry. No, I meant goals. My bad. he needs 3 goals to hit 400. But and Guile brings up a good point. I want you to look it up. But how many players have made 1,000 games? I thought you were going to say have made 1,000 points. Why don't we look up both?
The guys who have at least 1,000 games played, 382. Now, that does not include guys who are still putting up those numbers this year, because Pietrangelo is not on this list and Marchand is not on that list, so it'd be 384. But 384 out of the 100 plus years of NHL hockey, you got to be pretty darn good to get to that threshold. And then when you're putting up the kind of numbers that you're putting up along the way, you're winning cups, there's a case to be made.
And as of just Googling it, as of the end of last season, which was the 105th regular season of the NHL, there are 98 players who have reached the 1,000-point club. Can Marchand be the 9th? There's got to be somebody closer than he is.
Yes. Give me just a moment here. I'm getting up NHL all-time points.
I believe I have it up as well. That's not in order. Why isn't that in order? Oh, look,
that's the site you're on.
Oh, it doesn't tell me that. So
If Phil Kessel comes back, he is 8 points away from 1,000 for his career.
Kyle Davidson, pick up the phone.
The next closest player to 1,000 points is Blake Wheeler at 943.
No, okay.
Third closest is Connor McDavid at 921.
Holy shit, wait, he's closer than Marchand.
He is, yeah. So
wow. God. All right. That's another show topic. Who hits 1,000 points first? Any of the players you just mentioned or Connor McDavid?
McDavid, because Kessel is done. He's not coming back. Wheeler having a good year with the Islanders, but
don't say
I love Phil the Thrill.
Why can't
introduced
one team
you to the Temple of the Phil?
You did. Praise be the Phil.
Praise be.
Why can't one team just suck it up, pay him the league minimum, put him out there to score his 8 more points, and let him retire in the 1,000-point club? If I were an owner, I would dish out that money right now.
Can we get him to Edmonton and put him on McDavid's wing?
I don't think he can keep up with them.
It doesn't matter. He goes out, he plays power play only. That's all you really need him for. He plays 8 minutes a night. It's strictly power play time.
Yeah.
Gets his points and gets there.
I was not looking to find the stats on OnlyFans, but
he's more of a feet finder guy.
No, I have a feet finder. Anyway, no. It's either I do a feet finder or we start a Patreon for the podcast. I feel like people would pay for my feet.
Hashtag feet Snipe Celly.
Feet.
we need to reel it back in.
Can we how much money do we both have to make some t-shirts?
Put it on a t-shirt.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Oh boy.
But anyway, also we didn't even talk about Fleury, who is one of my all-time favorite goalies. And yes, that's not because he was a Blackhawk for half a season. But that half a season made me fall just so madly in love with him. He's so awesome. I wish we would have kept him. It made sense.
Did you get to watch the video montage tribute thing that they did for Fleury? Did you get to watch that at all?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched him and Sid because Sid got he got Sid.
Yeah, Sid commissioned a big painting for him. That was really freaking cool. The Wild put together a really nice ceremony for him. They had a cool mask that had, I think, in addition to pictures of him from each of the teams that he's played for throughout his career, I think there was also some either Native American or First Nations artwork, or it was done by a First Nations individual, which that's something that Fleury has always been super involved with.
He was involved with it a hell of a lot here, obviously.
Yeah, so that was very cool to see. And then you had a really awkward moment that is just embarrassing for Craig Leopold, the owner of the Minnesota Wild, where the Fleury's cut a check for $10,000 to a local American Indian Family Center, I believe is the name of the organization. $10,000 check in honor of his 1,000th game. And the Wild owner, who has a net worth of $3.6 billion, could not match the Fleury's donation and instead made a $5,000 donation from the team. It was just a really, really bad look for Craig Leopold. And I was like, that is weird to be getting shown up by a player like that on how much money you're donating to a charitable cause, especially when it's on behalf of that player. I feel like just the custom policy for something like that would be you at least match the donation.
We could get into the conversation about billionaires.
We don't have to get into a full conversation about billionaires, but my God, get off your wallet.
Seriously.
Like an extra $5,000, guess what? You made that in popcorn sales that night.
Literally.
Yeah.
Hell, you made that in a period's worth of beer sales that night.
You made that pregame beer sales.
Yeah, right.
Easy.
Dude,
easy.
Yeah, that's.
I'm
I'm fortunate enough my favorite hockey team is not stingy with their money for ownership wise. I can't say the same for
Not
other
now.
Chicago
The
teams
dollar
here.
bill era, it was looking rough, but now.
Oh well, yeah, no. Once Rocky took over and now that Danny has taken over, yeah, no, they are charitable as all hell. However, I can't say that for other teams in this city. White Sox, Bulls.
Oh boy.
Jerry Reinsdorf's a piece of shit. Anyway.
But yeah, put the
I'm a
bow on
little
that, stick
sad.
taps to those guys, and
Yeah, I'm a little sad Fleury will not end up catching and taking first because he's at 553 wins while Marty Brodeur is still at his pretty 691.
yeah, he's
Hey man, Fleury could he could keep going.
Fleury would need what? Okay, he's at 550.
Here. He's at 553 and he's at 1,009 games played. Brodeur ended at 1,266 games played.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I
love Fleury.
Good God, Brodeur had 125 shutouts to Fleury's 74.
Yeah, Brodeur was on another level with his usage, especially with New Jersey.
Without looking, can you name the three that Fleury just passed in wins? In order.
So it would have been Brodeur at now number 3.
What?
Or not Brodeur. Sorry, Patrick Waugh.
Correct.
Patrick Waugh at number 3.
551 wins. Yep.
Would it have been Hasek at 4?
Nope.
Hasek at 5?
Nope.
Okay, I thought he was up there more.
Hasek is not even in the top 10.
Oh wow. Roberto Luongo.
Yep. He's 4th at 489 wins and number 5.
Hank?
Nope, he's 6th.
Dang. Give me a team.
Hasek is 15th.
Hasek is 15. Okay.
Give you a team or all the teams he played for.
Oh, give me the team he's most known for playing for.
In my mind, Chicago.
Belfour?
Yep.
Yeah. I was leaning that before you said that one, but it's like, man, I had a couple of names, and when you said that, I was like, okay, yep, Belfour.
But yeah, I love Fleury. I miss him, and God, yeah, that's a hell of an accomplishment. That dude. We're talking about Hall of Fame, so Pietrangelo, I will put him in. He'll take a little while, a couple of years, 3-4 years. Marchand, I'm putting him in too, and I actually would argue maybe even putting him in first ballot if he hits 1,000 before his career ends. But probably not. He might have to wait a year.
According to Quant Hockey, if I can get this site to load, active goaltenders, Fleury at 553 is number 1. The next goaltender on that list is Jonathan Quick at 387.
Holy hell.
It is Fleury doing what he did in this era is pretty remarkable. Dude, and I think it's going to be a long time before anyone gets to Fleury's mark, let alone I don't think Brodeur's goaltender wins mark is touchable.
Fleury's legend showed when for half a season he actually had us kind of competing.
Yeah, wherever he goes, and nobody in the league doesn't like Fleury. He's just such a likable guy too. Beyond being good.
He's got an amazing sense of humor. He's such a nice dude. And my God, I love when he thanks the posts. That will always go down in history as one of the best things ever.
And he does it in English and French because he's not sure which they speak. So thank you, merci. Thank you, merci. That's the thing. That's incredible. His prank wars with Brandon Duhaime this year for the Wild have been one of the few high points of the season because it's been a bad Wild season. Those prank wars have been phenomenal.
It's what he's known for. He was doing the same thing to Taves actually when he was here. He did
Taves. He did to Sid. He taped, wrapped all of Crosby's gear up in a tape ball and had him. Yeah. He had to undo everything before. Yeah. He barely had it in time for warm-ups. or when he swapped out Sid's bucket to be the wrong colored helmet, and the equipment manager caught it, and it would have been a fine for the team if they hadn't caught it, and he would have had to. Crosby would have been fined on that one for wearing the wrong.
Fleury would have paid for it.
Oh, he would have, because that's just who Fleury is. But great guy, good people. Stick taps on the accomplishment. Congratulations.
Where's your sticks? Tap your stick.
It's out of reach. I moved it because so my father-in-law was over to watch the Super Bowl, and he stayed in this room the other night, so I had to rearrange some things. But
fair.
Let's get into picks. Try and knock these out here before we get to the end of the show. Joel, you went 2-1 last week. I went 1-2. With, interestingly enough, the deciding factor in that one being the Wild and the Blackhawks. Minnesota winning by a goal. I was disgusted with a win, and there are a few times where I've been as disgusted with a win as that game. They played so badly and easily could have won by more, and they let Chicago hang around and keep it close, and it ends up leading to a 2-1 week for you, a 1-2 week for me. And our all-time scoreboard is really starting to separate here. You're just gonna happy dance on that? You're gonna greedy on it? You're gonna do a Jake Wallman Celly?
I don't know. I need to teach myself how to gritty.
That's taunting. I'm gonna cross-check you for it.
I'll get up and try and gritty right now live.
Do it.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, right. For the bit.
How does it go? It's like
so it's the little hop. No. He's swinging both arms. He's alternating the swing, and then he comes up and does the goggles.
I don't know what I'm doing.
It's tough. You got headphones plugged in too.
I can floss.
There you go. You can floss. Doing it for the bit.
Hell yeah. I am not above doing stupid things for money.
You're not above doing things for the bit, and more on that in just a moment.
I'm actually not above doing stupid things on a dare.
Start with the San Jose Sharks.
Wait, hold on. Not sure we can be friends anymore.
There we go. Oh, boy.
Don't quit your day job. I won't.
Also, just a quick update here. The Buffalo Sabres up 5-0 on LA.
I am
End of the
happy
period.
I didn't bet on that. I was going to bet on the K. Actually, I was going to bet on the Sabres. Damn it.
Well, you got a chance tomorrow night. The San Jose Sharks plus a goal and a half at plus 125. At the Winnipeg Jets minus a goal and a half, minus 150. Joel, some big news for the Sharks this week. Thomas Hertl had a knee procedure. They did like a minor, just a clean out type of surgery. So he's not out super long term, but certainly out for tomorrow night.
One of what, 2 names on their team that actually have any merit.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. He was just at the All-Star game. He was injured like the last 2 games before the All-Star game. Goes back and plays the All-Star game, and then he's hurt and needing a arthroscopic procedure.
Yeah, the scraping, whatever it is. It's not a long recovery from what I've read, but yeah, I mean that I was already going to take the Jets minus 1.5, but that just sealed it for me.
Without looking, who is second on the San Jose Sharks in points? Number 1 is Hertl. Who is number 2?
Logan Couture. I have no idea.
The hint I can give you is former Minnesota Wild.
Michael Granlund?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's Granlund. Nice pull.
Boom.
Yeah, Mikhail Granlund, 29 points, is second on the team.
With how many points? 29?
29. 5 goals, 24 assists.
Yeah, no, the Sharks are...
It's bad.
They're us bad.
They might be worse when all is said and done.
Well, like yeah, when we have Bedard, they're worse.
Which he's coming back soon. You mentioned that one in the chat today.
Yeah. Sounds like he's tracking to come back next week, I hope. So we'll see. But
practice jersey for one more week and then get 1 or 2 full skates in and then go.
Yeah. What? Wait, what? Oh, Mark giving us some news here.
Oh, wow.
Phil Kessel will be joining the Canucks farm team in Abbotsford. Seems like he's getting ready to sign with the Canucks. He's chasing another cup. Wow. Per Chris,
I like
Chris
that.
Johnston. Chris Johnston.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Shout out to our resident Canucks fan, Isha.
Also, shout out Mark giving us the breaking news.
Isha's going to love that.
We're talking about Phil Kessel, and he is going to probably sign with the Canucks.
Please. I hope they continue his Iron Man streak as well.
They better. Well, can that continue?
I don't know. We're going to have to figure that one out.
We love you too.
Mark coming through. Winnipeg on this one?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's get to a game that probably going to be a little bit more competitive here. The Florida Panthers minus 126 at the Pittsburgh Penguins plus 105. Where are you going, buddy?
That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm checking some stats. Florida's still fighting for that top spot in the Atlantic. They are 6-2-2 in their last 10. 17-7-2 on the road too. That helps. Where is Pittsburgh at?
Pittsburgh is in 7th, but they are 3 points out of 4th.
Right. So
the Metro is just bonkers this year.
Right. The Devils have finally caught their way back up there too.
They're creeping.
13-8-3 at home for the Pens. 3-4-3 in their last. I'm gonna take the road team. I'm gonna say give me Florida. It'll probably be close, but I am going to say give me Florida.
When the odds are close like this, I love a home team at plus money. I'm going to go Pittsburgh. I
like
think
it.
There's just the betting value there. It's a bummer that Kessel isn't going back to Pittsburgh for one more rodeo, but as long as they already tried to bring everybody back for one more run.
With all the injuries, why the hell didn't we call him? Not that he would have wanted to come here. He clearly wants to win a cup. But, hey, Who knows?
And the final game of the night, the late one, Minnesota Wild minus 118 at the Arizona Coyotes minus 102. Joel, I'm going to call my team out for a moment as just being absolute frauds. Because...
Here, if anything. Here.
Oh, are you going to put me full screen for this one? Is that what you're doing? Yeah. No, you can stay on board here.
Oh, okay. It's fun to do it.
Wild are frauds. They're so frustrating. Like, how are you going to lose? How are you going to lose to Nashville and to the Anaheim Ducks on Hockey Day, Minnesota before the All-Star break? Those are your last two. You're going to lose those 2 games, but then you're going to come back. You're going to beat Pittsburgh. You're going to beat Vegas at Vegas last night. Beat Chicago, which barely they escaped.
Yeah,
they escaped Chicago with a win, and they took it to Vegas last night. The Jekyll and Hyde with this team is so frustrating to me, and it's because of that, and because of the fact that they lost to the Coyotes 6-0 in Minnesota earlier this year. I'm doing Coyotes for the bit. We're bringing it back. I am picking against the Wild tomorrow night. I'm taking Arizona at Arizona.
Well, that makes 2 of us. We're both doing the Coyotes for the bits.
Here we go.
I'm sorry, even though you guys are very unpredictable, so is Arizona. But Arizona's been unpredictable, but in the positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like last night they kind of screwed me, but it looks like Vegas lost anyway, so I would have lost that bet anyway. But I did have them to cover last night, and they were winning against Philly for a short time, and then I checked back, and they ended up losing 5-3. So I don't know what the hell happened there, but
this is where it's tough. Their losing streak. The Coyotes are on a 6-game losing streak here, 5 of which were on the road. At the Panthers, at the Lightning, at the Hurricanes, home against the Golden Knights, then at the Predators, at the Flyers.
That's a bit of a tough stretch.
That's a really tough stretch. I think you look at the schedule, you see coming back home, okay, you're getting Minnesota. That's a team that you
guys are
pretty much right there within the standings. And certainly if you have aspirations of making it to the playoffs, knowing that right after that, you've got Carolina, Colorado, Edmonton, Toronto for your next four.
Oh, God.
It's win now or that losing streak is going to 11.
Wait, Arizona's on a 6-game losing streak?
Yes.
This says they've only lost one.
I've got Arizona's schedule up in front of me right now.
Oh, some of them were overtime losses, I'm assuming. Okay.
Yeah. It's 6 consecutive losses. It is only one, and then they had an overtime loss before that.
That makes sense. All right, that's why it's not saying it. Yeah, no, that's fair. Although the Wild, you guys are 7-3-0 in your last 10, man. You've won your last 3. Like, this is
it's ridiculous the path that they have taken to get to where they are at right now in the standings. Because the results should just be flipped. I mean, you take the L against Vegas, you take the win against Anaheim, you take the L against Carolina, you take the W against Nashville.
Right.
You lost 6-0 to Arizona, and then you beat Florida at Florida 6-4. Like, I cannot make any sense of this team right now.
I get it. And quite frankly, me picking the Coyotes I don't feel that good about it, but hey, I'm going to call a spade. You guys have not really performed against the teams you're supposed to perform against. And while we aren't good enough to take advantage of that and you still escaped us, the Coyotes have shown that they can perform and actually pull out the win against the teams that are expected to beat them. So
when they played earlier this year, January 14th, almost it'll be a month to the day, Nick Bjugstad had a hat trick.
Mm-hmm.
Clayton Keller, 2 goals and an assist. Connor Ingram, a 38 save shutout.
Yeah.
And that was in our barn. Now we're going to theirs.
Going to that college campus.
I feel good about it.
Going to that college campus. Good old Mullet Arena.
5,000 seater.
Yeah.
Cramming everybody in. So we both took the Coyotes. You took the Panthers. I'm taking the Penguins. And we're both taking Winnipeg. You know, plus a goal and a half at plus money. And Winnipeg slumping as well.
Are you?
Nah, I can't do it.
Okay.
No, not with Hurdle. If Hurdle was in, I would.
If Hurdle was in, I'd be tempted.
Yeah,
but he's not.
But don't look now. But Winnipeg is 4-5-1 in their last 10. So
this is the get right.
San Jose 5-3-2 in theirs. So
this is the get right game for Winnipeg.
I think so. I think it's going to be a pretty convincing win for Winnipeg tomorrow night at home. So yeah, that's it for pick segment, and I think that's probably it for the show here as well. How about that? We kept it under hour 15, under hour 10 even.
Yeah. Hey, we had some good stuff to talk about. We got a lot of good comments, a lot of good conversation. Still missing a few of our regulars. Looking at you, Mateo and HP.
HP at least texted us. I think he's on the road.
I don't care.
But he is listening. He's listening because he texted you about the Gritty.
All right. Well, I just wanted to thrash on him for a second then. Hi, HP. Keep the rig on the road.
Don't text and drive.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in throughout the show tonight. Our next show, thank you, Mark, as well. Appreciate having you and almost an associate producer for this show with the breaking news that he had for us. So
Phil Kessel news, that's huge.
I'm sliding stuff right in there for us. Next show next Thursday, February 22nd. We're going to do a Thursday show next week because Joel can't do Tuesday and I can't do Wednesday. So
here's the thing. Thursdays are essentially Fridays. So you know what? We're going to have some fun. You come, now ahead of time, everybody watching. Thursday, next week, same time, just Thursday instead of Tuesday. Come with a drink in hand because Dan and I will come with drinks in hand.
Bet. We'll do it.
Bet. I'll break out my fancy, expensive Metallica whiskey for that show.
I haven't. I may make a cocktail.
So,
We'll see what we can do.
we'll have a fun show for you. There's a tease.
Good stuff all the way around.
It's
That's
just been revoked.
All right, that's it,
I'm
everybody. He's Joel. I'm Dan. Enjoy the rest of your night, y'all.
Bye-bye.